Hey Love Englishers! Welcome back to our English learning channel. I'm Sabrah. I hope you're all well. It's nice to see you all again. So quick weather update. British people love to talk about the weather. And in our last video, it was snowing. Leila did a video on snow idioms. So if you haven't seen that video, go and watch that at the end of this one. Now, today the snow is going away. It's thawing. So no more snow, which is a shame as it was very, very pretty and nice to see it. But it was a bit of a shock because in my previous video on thinking in English, I said the spring was coming. I was very wrong. Suddenly the snow came down. I hope it's nice weather where you are. So let's get on with today's lesson. Today's lesson is going to be super useful for you guys because I know this is a problem that so many of you have, is that you can't understand native speakers. Now, today we're going to look at 5 ways that will help you to understand native speakers, but first we'll look at why you can't. So some of the reasons why you might be having problems understanding native speakers, and then we'll look at techniques and tips to help you to understand them. It might be a bit of a long video as I have a lot to say about this, so I've got my cup of tea. It might be a good idea for you to do the same. Right, are you ready to go? Let's get started. Number 1. The reason why you can't understand some native speakers is because they don't speak classroom English. Now, your teacher, perhaps your English-speaking friends, they will all understand that you might not be able to understand faster natural English. So sometimes without even realising it, they slow down for you. Then when you meet somebody that you don't know, or you're talking to someone on a bus, you don't understand the native speaker at all, and you're thinking, why is this? I thought I was getting good at English. I thought I was understanding, but now I'm speaking to these people and I didn't understand a word. And this is very, very frustrating, I know. But it is because we naturally slow down for you, especially your teachers. As teachers, we're trained to slow down to help you get the sounds of the language and to understand, to build your confidence. But sometimes this actually is a problem because then when you try and talk to a native speaker, you can't understand them. You need to start to be able to understand more natural English, the English that is out in the streets, that is on the television. So what you can do, guys, is step by step, you need to start every day listening to that more natural English. Now, when I say this, I don't mean necessarily do English listening practices for English students, although they're very good. Again, they'll probably be a little bit slower. And if you feel you'd like to learn more natural English, the best way is to watch TV programs, download podcasts that aren't necessarily for English students, but try to listen as much as possible to natural English. If you can make friends with native speakers, then that is great. So useful. It's one of the fastest ways to learn, particularly if you can find a native speaking boyfriend or girlfriend. That can be extremely useful and you'll learn very, very quickly. But if you do make some friends that are native speakers, ask them, say, please don't slow down for me, don't worry, I'm trying to get the natural speed of English. Maybe I won't understand everything you say, but don't slow down for me too much, I'm okay. Tell them that so they know that you're trying to follow more natural English. At the beginning, it may be frustrating because you won't be able to understand everything, but slowly, step by step, you're going to start to train your ears. Sip of tea. I needed this. Okay, so number 2. Now, this one we're going to spend a little bit of time on because it's one of the keys to helping you to understand native speakers. And this is that we use connected speech. We push our words together. We speak a much lazier and relaxed English when we're talking with friends, in informal situations, generally when we're speaking in the language, unless we're perhaps at an interview or something where we want to be very clear. Let's take a quick look at some sentences to show you examples of connected speech. Let's have a look at the first example. Do you like chocolate? This is how I would say it in the classroom. But naturally, I would say, do you like chocolate? Do you like chocolate? And push these 2 words together. So you becomes ya, becomes a schwa. The schwa is the most common sound in English. It is when the mouth is relaxed. It's teacher, water. So here we've got dia, do ya. So when I'm speaking to my friend, I might say, do you like chocolate? And I would push it so much together that the beginning of you becomes almost ja. Do you becomes, do you like chocolate? Do you like chocolate? So here, these two words become almost unrecognisable from do you like chocolate? We're pushing our words together and speaking a much lazier and quicker form of English. Let's have a look at this sentence in the past. Did you like chocolate? Here I'm pronouncing all the words correctly and it's easy to understand. Did you like chocolate? However, if I speak to my friend, I might say, did you like chocolate? Did you like chocolate? Did ya? Did ja? So you again has become ja, ja, did ya? So again, very difficult to understand, but you need to recognise how words sound once they're pushed together in connected speech, and it's really going to help you. And listen for the schwa, the sound, schwa. The more you listen to natural English, the more you have native speaking friends or listen to the TV, as much English as you can, you'll start to hear this, you'll start to recognise these forms and it will get easier for you, I promise. Time for another sip of tea, I think. Right guys, next one, number 3, accents. I hear you all being like, oh, I don't understand the Scottish accent, I don't understand the Irish accent, the Liverpool accent, the Australian accent. I understand, and to be honest, I feel sorry for you guys. I know that English is a language which is spoken all over the world, so the accents, there's such a variety of accents. So first thing to say, guys, is that I am a native speaker. I was born in the UK. I was born in Liverpool, the city where, of course, the football team are from, but also the Beatles, one of the most famous pop bands ever. So I'm from that city, but now I live in the south of England, and I have a southern British accent. I have a very kind of standard British accent. So hopefully my accent should be fairly easy to understand. It's a little bit easier than the Liverpool accent, which can be challenging. So my advice here would be that you can't possibly learn all the accents and the different phonetic features of every accent that English is spoken with. However, you can get used to a few and really start to understand those. So some of you have been asking in the comments if I can do a Liverpool accent because I'm from Liverpool. And my answer to you is, of course I can. Let's have a quick look at the difference between a southern accent, so my accent now, and the Liverpool accent. So in a southern accent, if I was talking with my friends, I'd probably say something like, hey, how are you guys? You doing okay? What have you been up to? Like that. But if I was speaking with a Liverpool accent, I'd say, you alright guys, how have you been? What have you been up to? And I would change totally. So words like work, in a southern British accent, work. In a Liverpool accent, work changes to work, work. So my main piece of advice with understanding accents is to focus on the accents which you know you're going to hear the most frequently, and to really focus on trying to understand those. Don't try and understand them all. That is going to be too confusing. Your brain is going to become, and your ears are going to become some kind of melted down mush with trying to do that. So I don't recommend that. So just try and focus on the ones that you're going to listen to. Look at the phonetic features of those accents, like I was just showing you with the Liverpool accent. They all have distinct phonetic features. Watch videos on those and listen to them, and hopefully that will help you to understand accents better. Have you been paying attention to the lesson? Right, number 4, slang. We do talk with lots of slang, and the difficult thing about this is that slang is different in all the different places where English is spoken. So slang words can be very confusing because you can understand a whole sentence and then one word, perhaps it's the subject, might be slang, and this will stop you from understanding the sentence. But don't worry about this because you can't possibly learn all the slang for all the different regions where English is spoken and all the different locations around the world, unless you have some kind of amazing memory, which you might do, but it is quite challenging. So I really recommend that you think about the area where you're going to be dealing with the most business or where you need to understand people the most, and learn those slang words. If you're just trying to improve your English in general, I'd probably focus on perhaps learning British slang and American slang. I think they're the most common on television, in the written form, so in newspapers, magazines and things like that. So another thing I would recommend about understanding slang is that if you hear slang words commonly said, so if you start to hear the same word coming up all the time, that means that it's a high frequency word. And generally as an English student, you need to focus on learning high frequency words because they're used a lot, so they're very useful. Let's look at this example with the word money. There are lots of slang words for the word money, but the most common is cash. That's the one you really need to learn. Now there are lots of others like dosh, dough, spondulas, lots and lots and lots. But to be honest, the one that I would use the most is cash. I might say dosh sometimes. But you can't learn them all, so just focus on the ones that you hear the most frequently and that are the most common. That is what is really going to help you. Last one, number 5. Phrasal verbs. Now, English is absolutely full of phrasal verbs. There are thousands of them. And they can be difficult because they're confusing. We're the only language in the world which puts a verb and a preposition together, and it makes a new meaning with those two things together. Now, I understand why you guys find these difficult because some of them don't make any sense. Like, for example, run out means that something has finished. But if you heard somebody saying, oh, the milk has run out, you'd be like, what are you talking about? Milk doesn't have legs. So it could be quite confusing for you. So in English conversation, on the whole, if it's informal, we would choose a phrasal verb rather than another kind of more formal verb. Phrasal verbs are usually a more relaxed form of another verb. Let me give you an example of this. The verb fall out, the phrasal verb to fall out, means to have a disagreement. So to fall out means to disagree, to not be speaking to somebody, but the actual verb is to have a disagreement. So we would often, in normal spoken English, choose to say I fell out with my friend rather than I had a disagreement with my friend. It sounds much too formal to use that way. So phrasal verbs are very much a part of everyday British speech, and understanding them is going to help you guys so much. So this is probably one of my biggest tips from the video, is to learn phrasal verbs. Right guys, they were my 5 reasons that you're finding it difficult to understand native speakers, and techniques and ways to help you understand them because of that. I hope you found this video useful. Please do comment below and tell me which accents you find difficult, which accents you would like to hear more, perhaps even which accents you like. You can also comment below and tell me what problems you've had with understanding native speakers and how you are trying to solve that problem. So perhaps tips and techniques for other students on this channel that you think will help them. Don't forget to subscribe to Love English. Click that red button so you don't miss another lesson. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We will see you again on Love English. Don't forget you can find us on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram and Twitter for lots more Love English fun. Do join us on those, guys. My cup of tea is pretty cold now, so I'm going to go and make a fresh one. Enjoy your day, guys. Bye-bye. Did you enjoy the lesson? Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.